Hello, you're watching Bearwood West Yard. Today will be a bit different from the usual layout updates, and I'll be running through with you as to why that is. First of all, I'd like to say that I've done hardly anything on the layout, apart cutting out and painting the yellow hillside base. The past month has been much busier than normal in terms of my home and educational life. Myself and my mum have now moved out of our old house, so packing and moving everything out was the number one priority. In a way, this is going to benefit the layout because we now live here with relatives. So if I've got a free hour or a free evening, then I can come up here, do some more work on the layout, or continue working or planning a side project to do with the layout. Okay, so I've stated about how I've got some home life changes. I've also got some educational changes too. So I'm going to keep this very brief. Long story short, I'm not very happy with sixth form at the moment. I find that it's getting too hard. So I looked at other options, went to a college open evening, and after 2 weeks, I'm now an apprentice in mechanical engineering. So I'm really happy with how that's going as well. So for me, I find that I'm in a bit of a win-win situation. So I'm now with the layout, and I'm also going to be earning, say, my own money and learning as well. So I find that I learn better in a working environment than I do in a classroom. So I think this is going to be something more positive than what sixth form was, and I think I'm going to enjoy it more. So as I said, win-win. And when you're younger, your parents say to you to follow your dreams. This is me following my dreams. I've always wanted to become a mechanical engineer, so for me, I'm just really happy to be getting that. So I'll cut it off there, and let's get back to the layout itself. So let's get talking trains. Okay, so that's the life event side of the news covered. Let's get talking back to model railways. Oh my gosh, what's happened? Where's the ballast? And what happened to the yard? Right, to put the questions at rest, I made the very hard decision of taking all the track up, ballast and cork as well. This wasn't without reason, as I've been being plagued with issues on both the Class 66 and 70s wheel sets. So more the Class 70, but the track work had a number of joins within the curves, and because of the curve radiuses, these caused the front bogies of each Coco wheel arranged locomotive to jump and derail. If you're in the Facebook group, Model Railway YouTube community group, I've posted a few clips over the past couple of months where the axle jump is actually noticeable. I've gone over this to make sure that what I'm saying is true, and it is noticeable, but only if you've got a keen eye for detail. So long story short, I'm just reprofiling the curves. I do intend to keep the track diagram the same, but if not, I'll have to keep it really similar. So that's actually what I'm having to do now. So I am having to make edits to accommodate the greater curve radius, but hopefully these edits will actually benefit the layout in the long run. After planning some similar layout designs, I've placed the new track diagram, which is very, very crudely drawn. I do apologise for that. I'm going to put it up on paint so that it's nice and neat. This is the most notable edit on this is the relief line, which wasn't something that I wanted to get rid of, but as the revised plan enables both main lines to have a better radius of curve, it was a small but worthwhile sacrifice to make. As I recall at the station, the island platform between the up relief and main lines was unrealistically thin, so it will enable a more realistically wide platform which will back onto the yard. I may add in a safety fence on the yard side and have a bare track bed there. So that's been inspired by Westbury Station on its south side. I've seen plenty of photographs of it, and I've been there once as well on a train spotting trip. quite a few years ago, but I do remember it well. As of the yard, it will remain the same in terms of siding size next to the tunnel. Again, the removal of the relief line will enable the sidings to curve closer to the main lines, improving scenic potential in the corner. So that's where the military base originally, or the planned military base, was going to be. I don't know whether I'm going to keep it as a military base or not. That we'll have to see as everything develops. So as the relief line's gone, as I said, that I'll have more space. I may even incorporate that I may even edit again the revised track plan, and maybe even add in a fourth siding like I'd had originally planned to, but I took out. So you never know, anything can happen. Entry and exit of the yard will be done by a series of single and double slip points. These will provide a greater operational interest for shunting and my personal interest in the shunt and release system. So when a train arrives into the sidings and a locomotive is freed from the stop blocks by a shunting locomotive coming in, taking the stock out, and then the locomotive traverses across one of the slip points, so it's out, and then the shunting locomotive can just put the stock back or put it into another siding. These slip points were actually inspired from Eastleigh Yard. So if you've ever been up on the bridge by the station and you're looking into the East Yard at Eastleigh, you'll notice that there's a series of slip points, and that's so at about lunchtime, say 12 o'clock I think it is, there's usually a DB cargo intermodal destined for Southampton docks. That's been in Eastleigh Yard for about 45 minutes, whether it's driver change or just for timing sakes. So that stays in there for 45 minutes, then it comes out and it actually traverses across one of these slip points and crossovers. So that's interested me, and I thought I could incorporate that onto the layout. So, and both Eastleigh and Westbury are both in the southwest, so, and they're the main two goods yards in the southwest region, of which is fairly local to where I'm modelling. So that kind of gives you an idea. So taking local ideas to produce a supposed to be local layout. The single slip across the main lines will add to the scene for practicality of switching lines straight from the yard. So, and also not to forget the detail of the signalling equipment, which will be differing from the usual 3 or 4 aspect colour light signals, as to cater for light loco movements to the yard under a shunt aspect, and also consist movements through the use of a feather and route indicator board. So again, stuff that's not usually seen a lot, and I believe the company Absolute Aspects actually make these. So rather than going for one of the Train Tech 3 aspect colour light signals that I've got, I will be ending up probably buying a custom built Absolute Aspects signal, maybe even 2 or 3 of them, and that because they're a more realistic size and they actually have what I will need. So they're built to custom order too, which I think will benefit the layout. After seeing the slip points on the diagram, you might be thinking, but I use Hornby Express points. The single and double slips wouldn't fit in. With the additional plans of finance providing that everything remains as it is, I've been exploring the world of Pico. So a points renewal is actually looking quite likely. It's to match with the slip points, plus while I've had the express points a while, they're in actually a good enough condition that with a bit of cleaning I can sell them off second hand with the majority of my Hornby set track too. They all work well, and hopefully I can give someone else the same enjoyment that they once gave me. So it's kind of getting more people. So in a way, it will get somebody else more into the hobby too, because with the prices of track new, one of those express points, you'd be looking at about £13 for one, which I think is a bit extortionate. And then for even a double straight, bit of Hornby set track, you're looking at the best part of £3. And starter sets these days, they used to be £50 on offer, now they're £100, £150, and that's DC if you're lucky. So hopefully someone else can get the same enjoyment as once I did. Apart from that, I have a locomotive report. I acquired this beauty of a Class 08 last year from a mate who had no work for it. She starred in the Trains Running video a good few months back, but hadn't been seen publicly since. A long period of maintenance was carried out, but now 08921, as her number is back and ready for work, so expect to see more of her in the near future. So just something I wanted to point out very quickly after doing the news on the 08 is the concrete platform edging that I ripped up from the old platform. I'm going to give that another coat of paint. I've got a how-to on how I did that, so at least I can remember on how I did that, and also if you want to go see how I did it, then feel free to check it out. Give it a like if you found it useful, and that you can weather it as well if you really want to, but it's supposed to be a kind of weathered effect. The semi-forcing and equipment there, that is LMS round posts. They are a ratio kit. They don't come with the operating equipment, but you can make them work. They've got, I think they include some wire, some of the thin wire as well, so you can, in a sense, make them slightly operational. The arms will work. I painted them just after getting back from the Great Central Railway, of which I did make a video on that, so I went to exclusive locations such as Swithland Sidings. Had a really nice triple crossover there, so Class 37 got looped, a standard 5, sorry, excuse me there, overtook it, and also 9F went past as well on a Leicester bound service. So lots of action in that video, so do go check that one out too. Other than that, I'd like to say a little bit about the tunnel portal. I'm going to be replacing that as it is Hornby, so I do find that it looks a bit common considering a lot of people do have it. So I have designed my own London and South Western Railway inspired tunnel portals on a software called 2D Design, of which we used at sixth form. So I'm hoping that I can get at least one example laser cut before I leave. So maybe if I can do, cut out a few more on the same sheet, so that I can just with a plain brick texture, and just maybe even sell them off as custom made. But I probably won't. I'll probably only be able to make the one-off edition, but never know. I'll keep the files anyway, so see what the future holds. In the previous layout updates, I did say that I was hoping to get some paint down, so there you go. It's only a little bit of paint, but hey, still paint down. I did get asked about where I cut everything out. This is only a very makeshift thing, so I've got a small uni vise here. Most of my tools that I use, most of them are my granddad's, so I do have to return them to him every now and then. But bits like the chisel, that's all. Chisel and the craft knife, they're mainly mine, as well as the rules as well. So that's just a makeshift thing. So when I'm cutting rails, I do have a bit of paper down here and some safety goggles as well, because you can't be too careful when you're dealing with metal shavings, because if they go into your eye, it's a long trip down to the eye hospital. And although we've got a very good eye unit in Bournemouth, you don't really want to be waiting in A&E for a long time, because you know what A&E waits are like nowadays. So It's so the best care is a precaution, or something like that. Anyway, there's a saying. So that's my workbench when I don't need to go down to the garage and set the old workmate up. If you remember down by the old underbed sidings, there was a point that I was planning to install a point motor on. That point is still there, and I'm actually going to be using that rather than for the old relief line. I've kept it in so that any longer consists from the yard can effectively leave the yard. So I'm not restricted by having trains that have to come across the slip points, which will be located around here. So that's just for ease of operation. And I may even design and make my own high output ballast cleaner, I think it is, HOBC, for those of you who know your wagons. So I may even have one of them, of which round here, as I was saying about how the yard's going to be based on Westbury and Eastleigh combined, our local HOBC is actually based in Taunton in Somerset, so that's around 60 to 70 miles away by road, so really not far, and again quite local, so that keeps the realism in there a bit more. It's been a lot to say, and I'm aware that it's a lot for you to take in, so my thanks if you are still with me. I will get asked at some point about DCC, so I'll say it while I'm filming now. I have no plans for DCC, however it's not being put out of the window. The point work will take a while, so maybe I will consider it once I've got the finance available in the future, but for now DC works for me, and I don't feel I need to upgrade just yet. I'll leave it there for now, so thank you very much for listening to the big announcements, and stay around for what the near future holds. So as always guys, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.